Hello everybody, welcome back to some For Honor, but today I want to talk about some small little trend in the For Honor community, which is talking about the repetitiveness of certain gear items in the armor system that they have in For Honor, and I want to put my 2 cents on it so I can kind of like provide more information, my opinion on it. Now, what this is that we've been noticing a couple patterns in their new gear sets that they've added to the game. And there's a lot of repetitiveness. There doesn't seem to be too much design changing going on from like the new gear sets that they added. Now there are some examples of this, but there are some not, and most of them occur in the samurai area. So I wanted to show you what I meant by repetitiveness, and wanted to kind of also clear a couple things up. Also put my opinion on how maybe we can improve the ordeal, and kind of like think of how we can maybe talk to Ubisoft about this. And I think it would really be a good help to the devs, and also kind of like clear some of the air with certain members of our community. So there are a couple things I'm going to compare, and some of them show the repetitiveness, but some don't. And some of them might want to clear up some certain things in the armor department. So my first example is going to be a part of to show like repetitiveness in the design, and not too much detail that is being added to certain items in the game. So my first example is going to be the Shigoki default chest, and one of the rare chests that he can get, which is the Rajin, which actually is like what I would call a kind of. It's supposed to be based off the base design. The base design are the common items that you get, and then when you kind of like rep your character up, you'll start to get better looking gear, and some of that gear is based off of the same design as the common ones. So the Rajin chest is based off the default set, and as you can see, there isn't actually much of a difference, unfortunately. I will show you in a bit. So let's check out the default chest. Now the default chest, as you can see, is like kind of like a wooden chest piece for the Shigoki, and there's some little bumps in that little chest piece. Now these are what I want you to take note of. And here's the rare version of that chest piece, and as you can see, it's only missing the bumps. So this kind of shows a bit of laziness in their design. And it's a good example to what I mean by repetitiveness, and this is what most people are kind of like complaining about. And most of the time, it's not just repetitiveness, it's also kind of like lack of their original designing. And I'm about to show you another example of that like reskinning thing that people are also talking about. It has to do with Berserker's items. Now here are some chest pieces that I'm here to show you. One is plaid and has brown fur and then changed to the belt. Well, this one is the default one, and then, as you can see, not too many changes except for the pelt color and the belt. But then, like this little shirt he has is just like a bit of plaid and like a bit of flannel, it looks like. So it kind of like also shows a bit of reskinning. It doesn't really look too flashy, and it kind of like looks a bit like lazy, and that's kind of what some people are complaining about. It's like kind of lazily done. They're not doing too much to really change it, and doesn't look too it doesn't make you want it, like now the big thing about gear sets is that you kind of have to mix them and match them up so you can get what stats you want. Stats are also a very important thing, but this is about design. So when it comes to design, what they're mostly expecting you to do is like mix and match, so you can create your original armor sets and make things look nice. So how this can be improved upon is maybe add a little bit of more like what I would the base gear sets, and base gear sets are what I would consider common items in the game, like common weapons. No, sorry, not weapons. Common armor. Because it kind of sets a design base for most of the rare and legendary and epic items that you can get. And I wanted to show you some things that when you rep up your character, you can get more unique base sets for your characters. And Here are two good examples of that. So around Rep 1 Warlord and Rep 1 Nobushi, you can get these two rare base armor sets, and you can get these like rare base armor sets for any character that you get up to at least Rep 1. And what this kind of adds is more variation to design for base gear, and any more like additional designs that they add for like legendary and epic and heroic gear. So because it adds variation, it kind of gives a more opportunity to create more design. But there's a lack of these base gear sets, and I think what would really kind of create a better system for them and kind of add more variation to their gears by adding more of these base armor sets, because kind of adding more to the ones that already exist, it kind of feels a little bit more boring, and it just feels, again, repetitive, which is the thing that we don't want. And it kind of like doesn't help with certain design ideas. Like, people kind of have a limited set that they can stay with. Like the default. Okay, so for Kensei, the default helmet and the epic helmets and the legendary helmets and the heroic helmets, they don't have too much design variation. I will characterize them as the masks change color, and the helmets kind of like change in design in the sense that it adds scales and stuff, and maybe a couple horns and spikes in there. So there isn't really too much variation, but there is enough to where it can kind of keep you going with the variation switch ups that you can do. So as a final thought for my video, I'm gonna end it very soon, but final thoughts are like some things that they could probably add. There was some stuff for Kensei I thought about, so I'm gonna say she here for both Orochi and Kensei because those are how my characters look. But so Kensei kind of has like a half a face mask, so I think what would really work for design would be like a more of a full one, and maybe something like Shigoki's face mask or something similar, at least with like horns or tusks. I think that would work really well for like people that want a more like intimidating looking Kensei. Kensei in itself is like a pretty well designed character in my opinion. I think they look really they look how they're supposed to look. They're vanguards. They're supposed to be like the people leading the charge, and I think it would look really nice if people like those would be a little more intimidating to the enemy. So I think a full face mask would look great, and I think a little bit more metal for armor based like arms and legs and chest thing would look really nice as well. Definitely like put people on the edge. Definitely kind of show that you are the one in charge here, though. That is a really wanted image in my head, because I want my Vanguard to look powerful, so people know that she shouldn't be messed with. And there's another one that I want to talk about, Orochi, as I said earlier with the she thing. I believe that she should have a full face mask, and that I think, though it is the same idea as Kensei, I think it would work well with the personality of a lot of Orochis that I've seen. And no, I'm not going to make a roach joke or a snake joke. I'm thinking more of like a lot of people design Orochi to be more dark colored. So what I'm thinking is like face masks kind of show personality as well. I think it does a pretty good job too. A lot of Shigoki face masks kind of like portray a lot more like either more aggression, or some of them in my opinion portray like a very overpowering sense. It kind of gives me that feel when I see the gray ones with the beards. Or any of the masks that actually have a huge beard. Like I just think of intimidation and overpoweredness. So Orochi's masks, I should like say, should be more like based on some demons maybe. I think that would work really well with certain designs that people will have. I think it just works in general because I really like the idea of Orochi in itself, just a very skilled warrior. So why not a demon mask? That kind of scares people. And also, besides the idea of a full face mask, I think she should also have a proper metal mask because Orochis don't actually have a metal mask. They kind of have like a cloth-ish type thing, and it doesn't really fare too well with design. I mean, they have a lot of cool designs on it. I see a couple, like there are some mouths, but overall, it just doesn't seem that interesting. And I think adding like more of a metal mask, like what I said with the demon thing, but halfened, but like kind of cut in half. I think that would look really cool. And another like thing that I was also thinking of is maybe a little less spikes. That kind of like that was kind of a meme for some people I've noticed. Like, and this is like 4 days after I started recording this, but I think one of the things that they should vary it in is design of certain clothing. So I was really thinking of, besides the fact that they have all this really cool armor and all this metal and stuff, why not add some extra like tools and gear onto them, like how Shinobi does it with his like smoke bombs and kunais. I think that would look really cool for certain characters. Maybe even some like because Kensei already has some swords on her belt. So does the Aromusha with the extra katana in his belt. So kind of like add more to certain characters. Maybe the Orochi should also have kunais on her belt. I don't know, like maybe some stuff on her arms. Like take inspiration from maybe movies or something. I think that would work really nice for things relating to this because a definite place to get inspiration is definitely from movies and all other places like how should I say this? Like maybe the internet. Internet has got some really good stuff. Don't want to steal anything though, but there are a lot of pictures of samurai armor, so I think kind of taking inspiration from that stuff. And I know they have, but maybe a little bit more because I don't really see too much. I don't see too much of variation. There's kind of like the same thing when it comes to masks and helmets and armor. So I think it would be really great if they add a little bit more from how like they used to look maybe, and maybe add a little bit more base items so it can variate in design when they reach higher levels and stuff. Because that's kind of how it works. So I'd really love to see this stuff. I don't know if you all agree with me, but I'm kind of happy with my opinion. I think it sounds great, and I think it would really benefit their design choices, and I think it would really benefit the players as well because people will be looking forward to getting some really cool items. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.